Hello travelers, and welcome back to another Warcrow video. In this episode of the Architect's Forge, we're continuing our look at the Syenann with the winged boys themselves, Alula. As always, we'll start with a little bit of lore. They say that from counting clouds and watching the flights of birds from the highest peaks, the silver ivy Syenann sprouted their wings. Or at least that's the tale the saplings like to be told before they drift off to sleep. Whether true or not, in a certain stronghold of the region, there are those who grow majestic wings from their backs, with which they fly through the skies. Only one in every 100 Syenann is born with this physical characteristic, although in recent years this type of birth is increasing at the rate that the cycle of magic ascends. The Alulas have become an immediate response support unit for urgent actions. They are the first to arrive at the scene of the battle and can report on the development of the fight to the rest of the troops. Although most of the time they prefer to take care of it alone, through the rapid advances and surprise attacks that are their specialty. Although the stylized figure of a winged elf gliding through the skies may seem beautiful, when they descend to attack, all semblances of the angelic quickly fade into that of a fearsome being, brandishing its sword, its face disfigured by hatred and bloodlust. A truly horrifying image to contemplate before dying. So that is who the Alula are. And before we look at them on how they are on the table, just a quick reminder that if you're enjoying these videos, please, as always, remember to like, follow, and subscribe. As well, if you have any thoughts on the Alula, how they play on the table, what things you like to use them for, I'd love to hear about it in the comments section. If you were interested in supporting the channel financially, there is two options. You can join as a channel member either at the intact or marked levels. Marked levels do get access to videos about a week early, unless they are surprise videos that just kind of pop up, like first impressions videos. And there's also a link in the description to my Buy Me a Coffee. But with that, let's jump into the look at the Alula's profile and how they play on the table. So the Alula is a relatively cheap costed character coming in at 20 points. They are also going to be bringing with them a command token, which is always nice. The Syenann do have some strong command abilities, so having an extra command token for 20 points, not bad. They are an officer, which from my understanding at this point does not matter to Syenann because they do not attach, and there are no abilities that I am aware of that the Syenann have that trigger off of someone being an officer. So they are an officer, but it doesn't particularly matter unless an enemy has ability that triggers off of doing something to an officer. Now let's get to where they're really special, and that is their speed. The Alula is very fast with a 4-4 speed, the fastest speed in the game for a infantry model. And it has the longest charge in the game of 20 strides. That means it can charge somebody that is 22 strides away from them. So if they are charging, they can probably get there to you if they can see you. So yeah, watch out for that. They come in with I'd say good wounds of 3. 3 is pretty good. It's the upper end of average. Most characters come in between 2 and 3. They also have a good whip. A red die is very consistent. You're almost guaranteed to get at least one success, and there is the option and potential of getting 2. Where they start lacking is in the morale section. They only have 1 morale. That said, I don't think the Alula is a character you plan to activate a lot. They have no stress modifiers, so realistically, I don't think the 1 morale is going to get in the way too often, unless for example, somehow maybe stressing them off the table. But again, I don't think they're necessarily surviving a lot of hits to gain a lot of stress. So I think you're probably pretty safe even with that low morale. They are availability 1, which is fair and I think fine for this character. I don't think you're planning on bringing multiple of them, even if you could. They have no real special abilities other than that, and they do not bring any conquest. So they're pretty fairly straightforward aside from that very fast speed and long charge. So also, let's now look at their attack and defense. Again, they aren't particularly special. This is very much a support character. Their attack and defense isn't what we're here for. They attack with a red and 2 oranges, which will average you about 2.4 hits, maxing out at 4. They do have a switch that will help out, make this damage kind of okay. Their switch being for a single special, you'll cancel a shield. You on average get 1 special. So if on average you're getting like 2.4 hits and then stripping 1 shield, most against a lot of targets, you'll probably average getting like a damage through, a damage or 2. So again, it's not great. It's not a great offensive profile, but maybe you'll win a combat. Defensively, they are also not particularly impressive. Green and 2 blues, getting you just shy of 2 blocks on average, which is honestly a fine defense roll for a solo character. You can't really expect much. You might survive a hit depending on what it is that's hitting you. What really makes the Alula shine is their abilities, and they have 2. First, they have a command skill called Surprise Attack. This ability can be used once per round. And what Surprise Attack does is it means that when an enemy unit engages another allied unit that's within 12 strides, so 12 strides of the Alula can place themselves engaged with that enemy. The enemy then receives disarmed, and you get to make an opportunity attack against it. Now, there's a few things to note here. It is an opportunity attack, which does mean you do not get your switch on it. But the main thing here is that this is less about the Alula doing an attack at the enemy and more about protecting your ally. The big thing here is that they are really nerfing the enemy's attack. So an enemy charges your ally before they get to attack. Alula jumps in, makes an attack against them. Even if they win that fight, they won't cause stress or anything, can't push them back because it's an opportunity attack. But the main thing, as I said, was really to nerf your enemy attack because they're going to end up losing 2 dice. They're going to lose 1 dice because now they are being ganged up on from multiple engagement, unless they're a unit that ignores that, which is fairly rare. And then on top of that, they're getting disarmed. So that means before they roll, they need to remove a die or a symbol from being ganged up on. And then after they roll, you're going to get to remove 1 of their dice from disarmed. On top of that, they won't be able to use stress modifiers. So really, this is more about the Alula kind of jumping in, making it so the opponent's attack doesn't really do much. And then hopefully then maybe your unit that they attacked or charged can hit harder, and then they can activate and counterattack. And now the enemy is being ganged up on and all that. So it, I think, is a pretty good ability. It is only once per round. But really, you don't have that many command tokens in Syenann, so having, this will probably come up maybe once a game if you position for it nicely. But yeah, it's a pretty cool ability. It's also important to note it doesn't say target anywhere in the ability. So that means that the Alula doesn't actually need line of sight. So you can be behind a wall, jump over the wall to help your friend. Okay, the final thing on the Alula's card is their passive ability, Vanguard Observant. And this is going to target all allied units. That does mean you will need to see your allies. And what it does is it says that all your allies then can trace line of sight towards enemy units or terrain elements, essentially based from Alula. So if Alula can see it and he can see an ally, the ally can see the enemy. This really helps your allies get line of sight to things that they want, especially ranged units. You can shoot from other side of the wall if Alula can see them. And that's the real main thing for me. It is important to note that it doesn't give line of sight to other allies from allies. So if Alula can see an ally, 2 different allies, but they can't see each other, he doesn't transfer the ability to see each other. So that's just important to know for abilities that require line of sight. Okay, just quickly summarizing. As I said before, the Alula is a true support character. He's not really hitting, he's not a fighter, he's not an assassin. He's there to just provide support, either through that, counter-attacking thing to weaken your opponent's attack, or by helping give line of sight to ranged units. I think to me, his biggest and like most impactful use is that protection of units. But don't forget, it's only once per round, so it's not like he's doing a lot, and it's using command tokens. If you are going to bring him, I think you need to have a plan to get use from Vanguard Observant. And so, I think a lot of times that I do see this guy on the field, it's when someone's running 2 Protectors of the Forest and maybe the Shadow of the Rowan. So you have a bunch of units that are trying to shoot, and being able to just, use different line of sight and shoot from behind buildings actually is getting value. So I would consider that if you're thinking about putting Alula in your list. But with that is pretty short and simple. It's a pretty straightforward card. It's a really cool model. And yeah, those are my thoughts on the Alula. Are there any cool combos you like? I know that a lot of people have dabbled with him, but he's not necessarily, I think, the most popular model that we see on the field. But again, I would love to hear what your thoughts are. And as I said before, if you do enjoy this video and other videos on the channel, please remember to like, follow, and subscribe. Helps get the algorithm to send the video to other people that are interested in Warcrow, and it's always good to help grow the community. But with that, thank you for watching, and as always, may the dice be ever in your favor.